All right, we are recording.
All right, so today we're going to go over a little bit about the board and what we do, give you a little overview of our board members. Then we'll do an events, Afsha will help us do an events update and just a call out for getting, people in the community involved. I'll then review our budget as part of our bylaws. We have 2 community meetings at a minimum of a year every year, and then we review at this point in the year our budget and then do a final call for approval of that. And then we have our principals will have a presentation and updates about what's going on in the school. And then finally, we'll open it up if there's any questions. So we like to start all of our PTO meetings, especially our board meetings too, about just the norms, just the usual, assuming positive intent, spreading sunshine, stuff like that. I probably don't need to review them, but I thought I'd share them anyway. And then just a little bit about our mission, everything all about the students, the staff, the families, we really strive to make our homes community feel inclusive to everyone. And we've made some concerted efforts for some of our events to make sure everyone feels welcome and can attend those. And Afsha will talk a little bit more about that later. And then here's our board. So with the pandemic, we had a lot of new faces that came on the board. We're so thankful for everybody. I know we have a lot of the board on the call today, but it's just big appreciation from me and Afsha, and I know from Dr. Zelaya and Ms. Rayfield of all the things that everyone does on our board. So we have all our different areas, and you can see everybody's names here. I won't go through them, but we are happy to share this. Also, we could share this in the Hawk so you know who is doing what, and if you'd like to reach out to any of us with any kind of things you would like to discuss. And we do have one position open for communications. Usually we have at least 2 people on each board. So if anyone who's interested in that, please let us know. And a little bit about what we do. A lot of people say, I really don't know that much about what the PTO does for us. So really the biggie, as I mentioned before, is supporting the students. We have had some great donations and what we call angel funds for bigger D97 donations, where we really look to support families in need, as well as supplement things like assemblies and field trips. We also have our events that we'll talk about later, and really, appreciating and showing the teachers and staff any kind of support they need. So we do holiday gifts, we do Teacher Appreciation Week, amongst all sorts of other things sprinkled throughout the year. And then there are some things that we act as fiscal agent for. So that would be for the D97 diversity inclusion. So this is also all the PTOs of the PTOs for the diversity groups. We help with that financials for them. And then of course we have fundraising initiatives. And in the end, we want to make sure that we as the PTO align with the school goals. So we have regular meetings with Dr. Zelaya and Ms. Rayfield to make sure that the kind of things that we're doing is really in alignment. And then here's some things that we're looking to do in this upcoming year. I won't read them all off, but we have some fun events coming up. We had a terrific carnival. We'll talk about it a little bit later, and a lot of fun things on the books. And then Afsha, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so one of the big events that we have, we try to have every year, but was paused due to the pandemic, was our carnival. So it was back after 3 years. We held it on October 1st, and thankfully the weather cooperated. It was a lovely day. The main purpose of the carnival is really to help welcome new families to the community, help build connections between new families and returning families, and give people an opportunity to build connections with people they might not have had an opportunity to interact with, give them opportunity to participate in the community as well through volunteering. We had, hopefully many of you were able to attend. We had over 500 attendees. We had dozens of volunteers. So thanks to everybody who stepped in. This is a free event for our community. And so we rely on a lot of volunteers from our staff and teachers, some of whom are pictured, who are able to participate, help out with the activities, along with parents and other family members, especially the organizers, or co-VPs of community engagement, along with all the other volunteers that helped them set this event up. And then we also are excited that we always have student and even alumni, Brooks students, high school students coming and helping out as well. It is a big event. It's one of the, if not the biggest events that we host here at Holmes. And it takes a lot of leadership from our board, especially the co-VPs of engagement, community engagement, as well as a lot of volunteers, like I said, from both from across the community. So we just wanted to take a moment to recognize this event. We think it hopefully set the year off to a great start, and we're looking forward to hosting some more events. So wanted to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities there are to get involved. So a couple more slides. So first of all, we do have some opportunities where we're looking for folks to maybe, if they are able to, step in and take on a little bit more of a formal role. For all of these, we'll take what you can give us. There's no time commitments or anything like that required. To join the board, we're looking specifically for a co-VP of communications, to join our current co-VP, Sierra. And this would just be to help us with our website and our managing our social media, et cetera, and make sure that we're communicating with our community effectively. And again, really the only commitment there is that we meet once a month, excuse me, as a board. Anything else you can provide, even if it's just a couple of hours during the month, is very much appreciated. It doesn't have to be, a super heavy commitment every week or every day, of course. We also have non-board roles that we're looking for. So we have a few events and activities that we're beginning to kick off planning on. So our co-VPs of community engagement are looking to get started on work for the Pancake Breakfast, which is another annual event. It's also free. And we have that booked tentatively for February of next year. And so we're looking for a couple of people there to help with the organizing on that. It makes it much easier for everybody if it's not just one or two people leading the effort, but if we can get a small group together, we can divide up tasks, and it makes it much more manageable for these volunteers events to be planned and hopefully be really successful. We also have the Taste of Homes, again, also a free event. And we're looking for somebody, if you're interested in helping to organize performers or the potluck, or some of the booths that families set up to showcase their heritage, anything on their backgrounds that they would like to share with the community. That can be another great way to get involved. And then finally, in terms of non-board roles, we are also looking for members of the community who might be willing to help us with planning and executing our after-school enrichment program. We would like to try to bring that back this year. But again, takes a lot of work in terms of finding teachers to take some of the classes, helping with organizing, making sure that the activities are running smoothly once the program kicks off, kids are where they're supposed to be, things like that. So if that sounds like something you'd be willing to help us with, please feel free to reach out to for that or any of the other roles listed to our PTO mailbox, one of us. And I just wanted to mention, if you don't feel you can commit to any of these roles, not a big deal. There are going to be plenty of opportunities to get involved in the PTO, even if it's just for an hour or two during the whole year. That's not a problem. We totally understand. But keep your eyes peeled to the Hawk and other communications for those opportunities, or just feel free to drop us a line and say, hey, just let me know when you have those opportunities that are maybe, not a formal role, but just 1 or 2 hours, maybe supporting a ad hoc event or something like that. Great. Final plug that I will, final thing I wanted to mention is, this has been mentioned in the Hawk. We do have, as part of our effort, making sure that we are a welcoming and inclusive community to everybody here at Holmes. We wanted to, our diversity and inclusion co-VPs would have been running a survey. It's a really brief survey to collect some feedback and input from our Holmes families. So I've plugged in a URL here that should take you to that survey. This has also been in the Hawk, and we'll include it in the Hawk again, the newsletter that Dr. Zelaya sends out every Friday. So just want to take a moment to plug that as well, to make sure that you know about it, and hopefully take about 5 minutes to just provide your perspective on the community at Holmes.
Great.
Great, thanks. And we'll open it up for more questions and comments in a moment, but looking forward to hopefully welcoming more people to our PTO events and activities. Take it away, Katie.
Thanks, Afsha. That's awesome. I wonder if anybody at this point has any questions before we jump into the budget, or comments, or anything we've covered so far.
Actually, I forgot to do one thing while we were talking about the carnival, so if it's okay, I'll mention it here. Our Jen Sherman and Jill Sahoni, our co-VPs of community engagement who organized our carnival, asked us to remind all of you, or to ask all of you, to use the chat feature to let us know, your impressions of the carnival. If you have, your takeaways, if you any feedback, positive, any constructive critique even. So feel free to throw that in the chat during the rest of this call, or just email us at our PTO mailbox as well.
And feel free to reach out to any of us directly as well. All right, so let's jump into the budget. So yeah, on a yearly basis at the beginning of the year, we get together and talk about what our budget should look like. With the pandemic, we'd been operating pretty lean with not much going on. But this year, we're full blown back into the swing of things. So our overall operating budget is about $61,000. And I didn't include the EDGE program in there. It's about a $35,000 pass through in the end. We don't really make a profit on that, but that's kind of the in and out of that. So I remove that because we're still kind of figuring out if we can do EDGE, even though we would like to. And just to keep people apprised of where the majority of our revenue and expenses come from. Really, our biggest over the last couple of years has been the Hawk Hustle, around 18K was last year. And then for our biggest budget line item is for the student and staff initiatives, about 29K. So that is things like helping support field trips, assemblies, teachers, all that kind of stuff falls into that bucket. So we'll look at a little bit of the details. So from a revenue standpoint, we have the majority of our money with fundraising and just a little bit more from social events, but that total comes to about 61K. And then from an expense standpoint, there's a lot here, but you can see that student and staff initiatives. And this is kind of the breakdown of that. And, we see a little bit for fundraising, as well as, we have some money for diversity and inclusion this year as well. And administrative, really, that's things like our website, our accountant, and things to that effect. And just straight up donations have been a little smaller this year, but we will be, publishing our direct drive information especially as we get towards the end of the year, and some people might like to donate. So that is the breakdown of our expenses for the budget. And now we'd like to just call to say, for the board members to, those that approve the budget. This is the summary in these 2 slides we've been over, or 3 slides rather. I wonder what's the best way, Afsha, to take that vote. Maybe people just put it in the chat to approve.
Yes, we could do that. We can also do reactions.
Yeah.
From the reaction, if you in the Zoom app, you could do like a thumbs up to
Oh
indicate.
yeah, that's a good call too.
Then that way we can record that. So do we have enough of the board members to do that though? Do we need to table that for our board meeting?
Yeah, we could table it. I can't see everybody since I'm sharing and I only have one screen. But yeah, we can table that. That's totally fine too for our next board meeting. All right. Do we have any questions on that? I know it was kind of fast, but we'll be sharing this information in the Hawk and people can always come back to us with questions too.
There is a question in the chat about the after school program.
Sure, yes. Hello?
Sorry, Asha, I'm just wanting to know more about how parents can support. Yeah,
right. So I'm happy to take a stab at that. I think we might have some of our board members here who are in academics and enrichment, so feel free to jump in and add your comments as well. But essentially, with the after school enrichment program, or otherwise known as EDGE, there's a couple of different things that we would need to do. There's organize, like we can certainly organize the space, but we also need to get, I think, vendors or teachers who would, and organize the classes that would be offered. There's a communications aspect to that in terms of then helping to communicate what the classes are to the community, getting that set up in a system that we use to manage the classes called Jambalaya, I believe, or Jamboree, sorry. And that system then, so we have to input the classes, make sure that parents know how to sign up, process, then that system will process their payments. So just getting all of that set up in the system. And then third would be the on-site while the program is going, and it's usually about 6 to 8 weeks in the spring, being present, helping to make sure that students are where they need to be, they're being dismissed or let out of the program with the right guardians or parents who are permitted to take them. So those are like 3 big areas that I think of when it comes to organizing the EDGE program. And we'd like to make sure that we have enough support to get that done before we fully commit to it. But that's my spiel. Anything else that anybody else from the board, especially academics and enrichment, would like to add in case I missed anything?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna, one of the co-VPs of academics and enrichment. Hi, Ashlyn, you did a great job covering everything. So I will just say that I will put my email in the chat, and for parents, volunteers, whoever is interested to learn more and want to join one of the meetings as we start to build and talk about EDGE. Feel free to reach out to me and I can include you in those meetings.
And so just Julie had asked, what is EDGE? And so EDGE is after school programs. It would be things like Miss Rayfield did Irish dance, and we had teachers doing like gym classes. There was guitar, there was coding, there was cooking, there was all sorts of different enrichment classes that parents would sign up their students for. And it would be every day for after school. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 3 to 4, and on Wednesday from 2:30 to 3:30. And there was like different classes that were offered on different days of the week. And that's the previous model on how we used to do it. But it used to be an opportunity for parents to, sign up for, some extra classes. And I know that you had mentioned it as a it wasn't a fundraising opportunity. There was also scholarships that were offered for families that weren't able to sign up. We wanted to make sure that it was open so that all families had an opportunity to sign up for a class if they wanted their child to participate.
Thanks for adding. Yeah, I think we had 50 to 75. I can't remember how many we had last time, but we had quite a lot of ones that helped the families out. Thank you for that input. That's good. All right. Well, if nothing else at this moment, Dr. Zelaya and Ms. Rayfield will do their presentation.
Sure. Okay, let me share my screen now and share our little presentation that we have for you. Okay, let me go back. We're going to talk about some of our homes happenings. And you'll see like so much of our stuff this year has a camping theme. Our theme this year is adventures and learning. So we have all sorts of ways that we can like be adventurous in our learning this year. So you'll see a lot of camping themes for our year this year. So our objectives for sharing information with you this evening is kind of talking and starting off about life since pandemic. We're going to go over some of our 4 goal areas, teaching and learning focus, our focus on differentiation, how we're working to support all of our learners, and really identifying and reducing barriers to learning using the universal design for learning. And that really takes place in planning. We're going to talk about how we're fostering a sense of belonging with our students and really working to increase student engagement. So kind of life since, pandemic. It has, we started the year with all this great hope for our students and really, really looking forward to starting a year, like a more normal school year. But I think one of the things as I reflect on where we are as a school right now, one of the things that we did really well as a district was focus on kind of those academic needs. And I think one of the things that we didn't plan for as well was the social emotional needs of our students. And so we have, our kindergarten friends who were 2 years old when the pandemic hit. And lost out on a lot of socialization opportunities. Kind of like I'll use the example of, some of our students hadn't been out to restaurants in a while, and like, or if they do, they might go with, into the women's bathroom. Some students didn't know how to use a urinal. So it's like things like that you kind of take for granted and didn't realize all the needs that our students would have. But what we're finding is that our students are really having some students are having a challenging time with like those social interactions with their peers. And so we're having to spend a lot of time on really explicitly teaching those skills to students and really finding that we're experiencing more like peer conflicts and students not always saying the right things or knowing how to deal with situations. So Ms. Rayfield and I are spending a lot of our time working through some of those social emotional needs. We're also finding a huge increase in students with anxiety coming into school. They've been with their parents for so many years, and so now they're coming into school, and that separation from their parents has been really challenging. Like being in a classroom and the routines and the structure that schools have been challenging for some of our students. So we're really, it's at the forefront of our mind, and we're really working through and supporting our students and our families, but recognize that that this is something that we're having to really kind of adjust some of our planning and our goals to make sure that we're addressing those needs of our students. We do have 4 goal areas. We have an English language arts goal, which is like our reading and writing. We have a math goal. We have our social emotional goals of belonging and student engagement. So we measure our academic goals through our MAP data and our IAR data. And MAP is the NWEA assessment that we take as a district with each benchmark. And our IAR data comes from our state assessment. For our sense of belonging engagement, our students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, they take a survey, a student survey called Panorama, and that gives us some information about how our students are experiencing school, because it's really important to hear our students' voices. And Mrs. Rayfield will talk a little bit more about our belonging and engagement goal areas. So our focus around English language arts is really kind of focusing on our standards and ensuring that our students have a strong command of the standards that they are expected to know in English language arts and in math. Our teachers have identified like the most essential standards. And when I say essential standards, it's the standards that have like the most leverage. They're built upon year after year. And those are some of the standards that we're really focusing on, because we want all of our students to know and be able to demonstrate meeting or exceeding on those standards so that they can have that strong foundation in English language arts and math. And so a lot of that is kind of the behind the scene work that our teachers do with planning instruction for our students and really making sure that they are planning using standards, and then really trying to, like, that engagement goal goes along with this, because we want to make sure that we're designing opportunities for students that are culturally relevant and being responsive to students' cultures, and that they can see themselves in our curriculum. So we're not tied to one particular resource that we're using. We're really trying to be responsive to what our students are needing. So, you know, in education, we love our acronyms so much. So MTSS stands for Multi-Tiered System of Support. And so this is what, you know, when we're talking about meeting the needs of our students through differentiation of instruction, and really looking at our students across that continuum of students who need challenge, who score in some of our benchmark assessments, you know, above the 70th percentile, above the 90th percentile, really pushing them to continue to learn and grow, but then supporting our students who, who are meeting standards and helping them continue to learn and grow, and then supporting our students on the other end of that we call it a diamond of supports that need like a level 2, tier 2 or tier 3 support, and making sure that we are identifying exactly what skills that students are needing some more support and practice with, and making sure that we are designing our lessons to do that. And so when we're talking about our essential standards and our students meeting those standards, we're talking about all. So all means all. Our students who have individualized education plans, there are students who have needs for differentiation and an acceleration or enrichment. We really want to make sure that all of our students have access to grade level curriculum and that have that opportunity to meet the standards and can demonstrate some of that mastery. And so this happens in a variety of ways. So we have done some rearranging where we have Title I supports, where our Title I teachers, our language arts specialists, so some of you might know Miss Hannah and Miss Ashford, they really focus on providing support at that tier 2 and tier 3 level for our students. We also have special education supports with resource level of support with Miss Andrews and Mrs. Murphy. And they provide services to meet students' individual education plans in both reading and math. And then we have our classroom teachers who are really focused on some of our tier 1 core instructions and focusing on those standards. We've rearranged and kind of change how Miss Anderson is supporting students who are performing at the 70th percentile and above, and providing students during WIN time, again, an acronym, I know, but WIN stands for What I Need. And during that What I Need time is when students are meeting with some of these different individuals. And so Miss Anderson will work with students and provide them different enrichment activities through project-based learning, where students are working on WIN on different projects to continue to dig really deep into concepts and apply their learning in different ways. So we really have a lot of more differentiation. I will say, like, over the last this is my 7th year now here, but over the last 6 years, for sure, we've been really each year going a little bit deeper with our differentiation and really trying to work to make sure we're meeting the needs of our students. As you can imagine, there's lots of different needs, and lots of different people are helping us meet those needs of our students. We do have an opportunity. So Holmes and Whittier and Brooks are doing a pilot right now with iReady. And iReady is a blended learning model. So students are working on both using their iPads. So there is a computer-based component of it, and there is a balance of face-to-face lessons with your teacher. And the one great thing about iReady, it's in many districts, it has already replaced MAP. So it does a diagnostic assessment, which really gives us some good information about students' skills strengths, as well as some of their skill areas of need. I could give an example. I might have a student above the 95th percentile in reading, but they're really strong in most areas, but then they might need additional support with like information text. So it gives us some great information and really pinpoints exactly what students are needing. And then it has lessons that are through the computer system that are designed to focus on those need areas, as well as provides the teachers with lessons to support and continue to stretch and help students grow with face-to-face lessons. And that's happened through small group instruction, either in math or in reading, or with some of our specialists. So our Miss Anderson might be using some of those lessons with students and building groups around that. We might have our interventionists using some of those lessons, our special educators, and our classroom teachers. So we have we kind of have a lot of different aspects to it. So all of third grade is participating, all students in third grade. We had originally started with some of our tier 2 students because it does provide some additional supports for teachers with that planning and those pinpointed, very focused lessons for them. So we started with tier 2, but we've expanded it. So we also have some students who are at like that 95th percentile and above. We have students who are already at projected college ready at that 70th to 90th percentile. We have in second, 4th, and 5th grade, we have added all of our tier 1 students, and there are also students receiving special ed services and other tier 3 supports also participating in this pilot. And we're really looking to see how students respond. And so we're doing this because this may potentially be a resource that is used district-wide. And I'm so happy that I found this and kind of brought it to the district so that my Holmes and a couple other schools, like I mentioned, Whittier and Brooks, are also having that opportunity to use some of these resources. They're great standards-based resources with high interest text. And I know some of our teachers are really loving some of the lessons that they are finding. So Miss Rayfield, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I apologize in advance if you hear some pitter patter. My kids are trying to get to bed right now. So I would like to share with you some of the things that we are doing at Holmes in terms of helping our students feel like they belong to our community here at Holmes, and also to make sure that we are providing lots of opportunity for engagement as well. The first thing that we want to talk about is our Leader in Me program, which I hope you have heard about either through your students or through Dr. Zelaya's weekly update to you all on the Hawk. But Leader in Me is a program that we use to supplement our social emotional learning curriculum, which is Second Step. And Leader in Me just really promotes student habits, and they call it Student Habits for Leadership. And what it really does is it helps our kids to think about some skills and habits that can help them no matter what they are doing, and hopefully carry them throughout their lives. So hopefully you'll hear your kids say something like, I need to be proactive, or maybe I need to think win-win, which we try to say a lot in our house, you know, when we have arguments or disagreements or conflict, how can we think win-win? So these are some of the things that our students are getting direct instruction on Wednesday mornings, in addition to their Second Step, which again is our social emotional learning curriculum, just to support our students in those social emotional learning areas. In addition, We have binders for all of our students. We are bringing them back this year because of the pandemic. You know, we struggled a little bit to figure out how to do our binders online, but we actually have physical binders that students will carry them throughout their years here at Holmes, that they will track their progress. They will set goals for themselves. They will write different things about how, you know, they are developing as a person from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. They love looking back and seeing what were some of the things that they liked and they thought they were good at in the younger grades, and then reflecting in the older grades. But really, this binder is a great opportunity for our kiddos to reflect, to set goals, and then to track how they are moving towards those goals. Another thing that we're really excited about, in addition to just the direct instruction for Leader and Me, is this year we finally got up and running leadership clubs in grades 3 through 5. Again, I hope your students have come home and told you about which club they're in. And I would love just to send some examples to you right now. So for example, we have the Spirit Leaders and Play Brigade and Kindness Campaign leaders. We have Book Room leaders, Assembly leaders, Go Green leaders, Engineering leaders, student teachers that are going to go in and support in our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade classrooms. We have birthday card leaders, games galore leaders, improv leaders. So we have all these opportunities. We actually had 22 different clubs for our 3rd through 5th graders that they got to choose. There's top 3 picks out of 22. And we've already had 2 of our club meetings, and they happen twice a month for 30 minutes. And really our goal is for each of these clubs to make their own goal. And they have about 8 sessions to try to meet the goal that they set forth as a club. And eventually our overall goal is for these clubs to either showcase or support our Holmes community within school, but also our Oak Park community as well. So that's kind of like our big global goal. But the kids are so excited. Every time we finish the clubs, I pass, you know, all the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders moving in the hall, and I ask every single one of them, how is your club today? And they're beaming, they're so happy. So we can tell that we're really getting that engagement with our kiddos during this special time that we've set aside. In addition, we started Hawk's Nest today.
Can I add one thing to that,
yes.
Marian? I'm sorry. I just want to add, so that was one of the barriers that we eliminated, because we used to have these clubs either after school or like during lunch recess. And so that was a barrier to some of our students being able to participate. So now it's during the school day. So all 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are able to choose a club. So that was really exciting for us to be able to do this year.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So Hawk's Nest started today. I hope kids also came home and talked about their Hawk's Nest. So we started this program again pre-pandemic. Again, it was impossible to do during COVID. Even when we came back and we had, you know, all of our, 6 feet airplane arm limits, we couldn't be mixing students. So basically what happens is every kid in the entire school, kindergarten through 5th grade, we move to a different teacher. And we have small groups. There's about, I think maybe I had 10 kids with me. And so every person in the building, besides Miss Krickow, our school secretary, and our nurse, so just in case anything happens, everyone else, the entire staff has a Hawk's Nest. So we're able to make really small groups. And our whole goal of Hawk's Nest is so that every student in our school is known and nurtured. That means that they get to become really close, hopefully over the course of the year, with another adult in the building. But it was great today having a kindergartner meet a 5th grader, and that when they're passing in the hallway, they can say hi to each other. A 2nd grader hanging out with a 4th grader. These grades don't typically cross each other that much during the school day. And so this is just an opportunity for, again, every kid to be known by another student in the building and another adult in the building. And today we just really worked on that sense of belonging and sense of community, and that is our goal. And each month we will meet with our Hawk's Nest, and we will have different short lessons that we do with the kids to promote that sense of belonging in not only our school community, but again, our Oak Park community. Our next thing that we want to share about engagement is belonging is our family communication. Obviously, we get the weekly hawk from Dr. Zelaya, but this year, Dr. Zelaya and I have kind of gimmickly tried to do some podcasts. I don't know if anyone's listened to them, but reaching out to not only you all as the parents in the community, but our teachers as well. And then just getting some information on what do you think our community needs to know more about? How can we be a little bit more transparent with what's going on in school and all the systems that we have in school to support our kiddos that are with us every day? And so we've tried to do some off the cuff talking in our podcast. They're a little silly and we're trying to, every week we're trying to get a little better at them. But if you haven't had a chance, we're trying to keep them as short as possible. And sometimes we talk too much. And so our goal is about 10 to 20 minutes of a soundbite to let you know what's going on.
And our parents
Um,
did give us some input as to what
Yeah.
topics they'd like. So we started with bullying because it was National Bullying Prevention Month in October, but we will be getting to some of those other topics that families wanted to learn more about. And, we're always open to hearing like emails about different things that you'd like to know, if you'd like to make other suggestions.
Thank you for Kristen, your comment about our podcast, and thank you all for your comments about Hawks Nest too. That makes us feel so good that the kids are coming home and talking about it, because that really means that it was something special for them today. In addition, in our schedule, Dr. Zelaya has worked really hard over her time here at home to get an hour a week into our teacher schedules on Wednesdays, where they have protected time to do project-based learning. So not only do students who need some acceleration work with Ms. Anderson have that opportunity, but all of our students have that opportunity. And I'll say I actually passed, I was up in the third grade and fourth grade hallway today, and I stopped into Miss Callenber's class because I was so excited. She had her door open, and on her door she had 2 anchor charts with all of the kids guiding questions, which is the first step of project-based learning, about things that they wanted to learn about. And I happened, it caught my eye right when I walked by, and they had all these amazing questions that they wanted to talk about. And then I was in the lunchroom today, and one of the things that the kids were talking about was yesterday they had red plastic trays that you couldn't throw away, and then today, every other day, they had these compostable trays that they normally get, that they just stack up and that are recycled. And they were talking to me about, well, which one is more cost effective? And I said, this is a great question for project-based learning. And the table that I was sitting, talking to, all of them were like, yeah, we need to go back and change our question. So again, that just sense of engagement and empowering kids of, this is something I'm wondering about, and now I want to learn about it. And the whole point of project-based learning is that students feel ownership over their work. They are excited. They feel like they have something that they want to share with a larger audience than maybe just their teacher. And so they go through a project of research, and they go through all of these different elements in order to put together some kind of presentation, if you will. And that doesn't necessarily mean slides or getting up and talking in front of someone, but how are they going to present their learning about the question or whatever topic that they were really wondering about. So it's such a special time in our school week for the kids. They look forward to it. Wednesdays are a big day for us here at Holmes, and it's just something really unique to Holmes in District 97 that we're really proud of. Finally, I'll just talk about our PBIS. PBIS is another acronym for us, but basically this is just how we support students, and remembering that the word discipline means to teach. And so we have expectations, we have universal expectations here at Holmes about how we would like students, what should it look like and sound like and feel like when they're in different spaces. So one of the things that we're doing right now, over the course of the last couple of months, we collected a lot of data, like Dr. Zelaya said, noting that students were really struggling with understanding the expectations outside at recess. We got a lot of different information from, supervisors outside, teachers and students coming in, and our kids were really struggling with keeping their hands and their body to themselves and playing appropriately. So one of the things that we did through our PBIS team, which includes students, is over the last 10 days, we've had an incentive going for the students, and hopefully they've maybe shared this with some golden feathers as an incentive to give to students when they are playing the Holmes way. And what that means is that when they're outside at recess, they're following our school expectations of being safe by keeping their hands and their body to themselves, as well as being respectful, which means using kind words outside. And so what we've done is we've got these special, they're really just bright yellow feathers that we're handing out. And their goal was 1,000 feathers in 14 days. And we are at 900, a little over 900 today. And we still have 3 days left to meet this goal. And on Tuesday, if we meet this goal, which the kids ask me about every single time they pass me in the hallway, how many feathers we have, they're going to have a glow party on Tuesday at school. So we will have glow sticks, and in the upper grades, these neon glow balls that they can play silent ball in the classroom. And just to celebrate that they are following our expectations and that they're playing the Holmes way. And this phrase has really caught on in school, and even just in the hallway. How do we walk the Holmes way at school? How do we, communicate to our friends the Holmes way? So it's something really exciting that the kids are proud of, and I'm sure they're going to meet their goal tomorrow. So that's just a little bit about how we are making sure our students feel a sense of belonging and engagement in our school.
Thank you, Ms. Rayfield. So I
Welcome.
see that there's a couple questions that in the chat, and one was around iReady and sharing those results. I hadn't really thought of that, and mostly because not all students are taking and participating in it, but we're happy to share if your child's participating, like how they're doing, what their strengths are, and then what are some opportunities and where some of that instruction is going to be focused. So absolutely, it's, we want to be transparent and make sure you have information as well, but it's just not all students are participating. But yeah, if your child is participating, then we can definitely connect with you to share that information. I think there's another question. Oh, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Any other questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute and feel free to ask us.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Ms. Rayfield and Dr. Zelaya. It's always really terrific to hear more in depth about what's going on day to day. And we are so appreciative of all your hard work, and we are here to support you in any way we can. So thank you so much.
And you guys are the best support. So thank you.
That might be about it. I wanted to share one more thing for our presentation, just how to stay connected. Keeping in mind, all of our info is usually in the Hawk on Fridays, kind of down at the bottom, but the big dates end up on the top as well, because there's so much good information in the Hawk. And then we have our Facebook page and our website. And then, like Afsha said earlier, you guys can reach out to us directly as well, to our email address that we'll add here too, as well as any of the board members directly too. And with that, do we have any final questions that anybody would have or like to talk about with the board and our principals? All right. Well, we are so thankful for everyone who joined us. We got a pretty good crowd today. You can expect to have one more community meeting. We'll usually have that in the spring. But in the meantime, if there's things you'd like to know more about, please feel free to reach out to us. And everyone have a lovely evening. Thank you so very much.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Bye,
evening.
everybody.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.